It's the Eagle Community Television Forum with your host, Gary Shorman.
Hello, I'm Mike Kerner in for Gary Shorman this week on the Forum, brought to you by Hayes Med. And our guest this week, Linda Beech. I should say extension agent extraordinaire, because you are like all over the airwaves, radio, TV, and even newspaper all over the area. So
that's right.
Wanted to talk to you a little bit about a lot of things that are coming up in your life, possibly with the merger. We'll get to that here in a little bit. But I wanted to kind of go through your life a little bit. We see you on all these media outlets all over. You're doing all kinds of great things for the communities that you serve. And I'm trying to think, how did you get into this? But let's start, where did you grow up and go to school?
Okay.
And eventually, how did you get here to Hayes?
Going way back, huh? Well, I'm a farm kid from southern Saline County. I grew up at the little town of Assaria. If you've ever seen the sign on the interstate that says, if you lived in Assaria, you'd be home now, well, that's me. And
I have seen the signs, but I haven't seen that one in particular.
Well, we're a farm family. I grew up as a 4-H'er. My family was a family of extension users. So not only was I in 4-H, but my dad was on the local extension board. My mom was in one of the ladies' clubs. And we always appreciated the information, the opportunities that came from extension. So when I was in the 8th grade, I decided that this is the kind of work that I would like to do. And so I planned my education with this kind of a job in mind, and I'm just really grateful that someone decided to take a chance on me, give me that first position, because I've been an extension agent ever since.
So you went to school at Kansas State?
Sure, I did. I have a degree in, well, they called it home economics then. It's now the College of Human Ecology, and I have a double major, Foods and Nutrition and Consumer Economics. So I have the food, nutrition, health stuff and all of the financial, consumer kinds of training. And it was great training for a job like this that
I know that one of our camera guys, Jeff Durall, he gets a chance to shoot some video with you a lot, and you've done some cooking for him in the past, and he really likes it when you have the mistakes.
Well, you know, he's done lots of favors for us, so it's just natural to, you know, I brought him jams and jellies, and I baked him a pie. And I think that's what made the news around the station here.
Oh, it could be. Now, your first job when you became an agent, where was that at?
My first job was in Hodgman County, Kansas. The county seat is Jetmore, and it's about 27 miles north of Dodge City. So I went to Southwest Kansas long ago, 1979, and I was in Southwest Kansas in several counties before I finally came to Hayes in 2012.
Now, is it a little different, or was it a little different then than it is now when you do like fairs? Because now it just seems like there is so much to do. Or has it always been that way when you go to county fairs?
You know, county fairs really do vary according to the community. So every county has a unique and special county fair, whatever suits the size of their 4-H membership, the size of their community. So yeah, the county fair in Jetmore was a lot more laid back and quite a lot shorter than the one that we have here. But it still was a marvelous time for community gathering. It was an event that brought people together, and it was a really big deal in that community.
So from Jetmore area, where have you moved around to? Can you tell us a little bit?
Sure.
Because I know that you've been to a couple of different communities.
Yeah, this is the 4th county where I've worked. So from Jetmore, where I started, I went to Hugoton, which is down on the Oklahoma state line. And I was there for 7 years, and then I moved to Garden City, and I was in Garden City for 16 years before I moved here. So all of my previous experience was in the southwest corner of the state.
Well, I know that you've told me in the past that growing up, your kids growing up, you used some of your skills in cooking different items for them and trying to keep them healthy, and some of the stuff that the knowledge that you picked up along the way.
Well, I did, but I really did more with my cooking skills when I was trying to raise funds as a single mom to send my kids off on 4-H trips and school opportunities and international travel that they had a chance to do. So I've sold pies and jams and jellies and all those things at farmers markets over the years.
You honed your skills that way.
Yes.
And then what year did you come to Hayes?
I was here in January of 2012, so I've been here about 5.5 years.
And we've seen you on TV, we've seen you a little bit of everywhere doing all kinds of media tours, but of course you've giving some great advice, and that's what your job really is, isn't it?
You know, our work as a county extension agent is to be the local branch of K-State Research and Extension. Now, there are folks like me in every county across Kansas, and our job is to help extend, that's where we get the name, the information from Kansas State University and our other state and national partners to the people in the communities where we live. And we live and work among the people that we are sharing information with. We're unbiased, research-based, and we're there to help people gain information that can help them have a better life.
I would assume that Kansas State probably provides you with a lot more information than you really ever use, and what you do is you take that information, scan through it, and find stuff that works for each community that you serve.
Exactly, and part of it is just training to help me be a better professional, to help understand the science behind some of the recommendations that we might be giving to people, or look at trends, new information that is coming about that we may see on the horizon or that we need to be aware of. And then part of it, yes, is prepared programs, ideas, things that we can take right home and implement.
And I know you do classes too.
Sure. And we have an elected advisory committee that helps us, all of us extension agents, to determine what are the local needs. What of all of that great information available from K-State Research and Extension do we want to bring to our community, and when, and what's the right kind of timing? So while we're the public face and get a lot of the credit, so to speak, for being the educators, there's a planning committee behind us that helps us make sure we're providing information that's timely and on target for the folks right where we live.
All right, well, we're gonna take a break right now, but in the second half of the show, we're gonna talk about some other changes that are gonna happen with the extension agent, or possible extension agent changes here in the near future. And also, we're gonna get into some stories of things you've encountered along the way.
Okay.
Some crazy stories. We'll get into that second half of the show. It's brought to you by Hayes Med. It's the Forum. I'm Mike Kerner in for Gary Shorman this week.
Hayes Med is your first and best choice for healthcare. They're the only facility providing tertiary level services in this region. With more than 70 physicians and 26 specialties ranging from heart, orthopedic, spine care, cancer, obstetrics and gynecology, wound care, rehabilitation and surgery, including the Da Vinci robotic surgery, Hayes Med is your comprehensive health provider for people throughout Western Kansas. Hayes Med, helping people be healthy.
Are you frustrated with Wi-Fi dead zones in your home? It happens when you don't have Pulse, the cutting-edge Wi-Fi solution from Eagle Communications. A Pulse-certified Eagle technician maps your home, then installs a dual-band modem and router, plus discrete access points to deliver wall-to-wall Wi-Fi with no dead zones. Pulse powers all your family's devices in all the places you love to live. Get Pulse. Wi-Fi made simple. Only from Eagle Communications. Call today.
Welcome back to the Forum. I'm Mike Kerner in for Gary Shorman this week. By the way, if you've got a guest idea, Gary would love to hear from you. You can email him at gary.shorman@eaglecom.net. Again, the Forum brought to you by Hayes Med. This week's guest, Linda Beech. Everybody's seen you out and about and giving advice not only at the county fairs, but also on television and on the Hayes Post and everywhere else. But today we're learning a little bit about Linda's life, and we did that in the first half of the show. But I want to talk to you in the second half of the show a little bit about you've been an agent for a few years, and I'm sure you've got some crazy stories that you've heard over the years, because I know in broadcasting we've had some crazy stories too, but people love to hear those kind of things.
Well, I'm like the Family Consumer Sciences educator for the county. So when people have a question that they need some help on, I'm as close as the telephone. So that does mean that when I pick up that phone, I never really know what I'm going to hear. One of the early calls that is memorable to me is that a lady in my community called and wanted to know if she could mail a bowl of homemade potato salad to her daughter in Seattle.
But not possible.
Even
if it was overnight express, probably not a good idea.
Exactly. Well, it could be packed on dry ice and all of that, and we talked that all through. But it turns out that her daughter was expecting a baby, and food safety concerns are really especially important for pregnant women. And all she really wanted was a bowl of her mom's potato salad. And even though she had the recipe, it's never quite the same unless mom is making it. So we talked it through. We didn't have a source for dry ice in our town. Finally, with all the food safety hazards, we finally nixed that opportunity, and it was one of those things where I said, maybe you just need to go visit your daughter and make her some potato salad.
That's what my advice would have been. Okay, another story. I want to hear the bear story. That one was a good way. We went over this before the show started. The bear story's good.
Well, think back. You remember in 1999 when we were approaching the turn of the century, and the millennium, there were a lot of people who were concerned about malfunctions in all of our computer technology, and people really thought that there would be no food in grocery stores and they would need to be self-sufficient for a time while everything sort of was in chaos. Well, thankfully that didn't come to pass.
It's funny you say that because I was doing videos, audio tapes and videos for that as well.
Exactly.
So there were people that were really scared about that.
Yes, and we were all sort of preparing, and we'd taken all those kinds of backup precautions and some of that sort of thing. But I got a call one day from a lady who wanted to know if I had instructions for home canning, home food preservation, if I had instructions for canning bear meat, because her husband was going to go on a hunting trip and she was going to can the bear meat, and that's how they were going to survive the Y2K disaster. And yes, I have instructions for canning bear meat. They do exist. We handle bear meat in the same way we would handle red meat, beef, pork, or lamb, or any of those. And but in the course of that, I asked her if she'd ever eaten bear meat before, and did she think that her family would like it if they were going to use that for a source of food sustainability for quite some time. And no, they'd never had bear meat. And her husband had never gone hunting for a bear, but she was pretty sure that if he got one, that she would need to can it.
Did you ever do a follow-up?
I never did, because that was the time when everybody else was busy preparing for Y2K, and I had lots of things that were keeping me busy. But I often did wonder if he got the bear, if they canned the meat, and if they ever ate any of it.
It's probably still sitting there.
Maybe when they clean out Grandma's basement, there will be a whole bear. Yeah.
Then they got another story, I guess, for him. Okay, any more stories you got?
Oh gosh, it's just you just never know. I'm the person who gets the calls. We left the pizza sit out on the counter overnight. Is it okay to eat for lunch?
College students do it all the time.
I know. Or we ran the crayon through the dryer. Now everything in that load is covered with crayon marks. And all of those kinds of interesting things. We've been cleaning out Grandma's basement. What do we do with canned peas from 1985? And some of those kinds of questions.
I bet you do get a lot of those.
I do. And how grateful I am that they can recognize that we're a source that can help them with those very specific individual questions. So yeah, we try to help with all those interesting
At
things.
the Extension Office, no questions too crazy, right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
That's what you're
Makes
there
for good stories.
It does. Okay, let's go to the next question that I have before we wrap everything up here today. We've heard in the news, and it's been in the media for a long time, that there is a possibility of a merger with Ellis County and Barton County Extension agents. And I know that you've got some partnerships already between the two counties, but it's waiting approval right now from the governor. But you've already kind of been doing stuff already. Let's talk about that a bit.
Well, in family and consumer sciences, in my field, we do a lot of shared teaching. And so I had already been cooperating with the agent in Barton County and also with the agents that are in a Walnut Creek district, that's La Crosse, Ness City, Dighton, and over in Ellsworth. So we'd been sharing programs and teaching programs in each other's counties for probably about 5 years anyway. Well, an extension district is a way that extension programs can be administratively joined together to operate as one unit. And as we looked at that in Ellis County, Barton County was a great match as a partner. We have about the same size population, about the same county valuation, about the same extension budget. They have 3 agents, we have 4. So for a lot of reasons, it was a really good match for an extension district. This is something that has a procedure laid out by law, and it allows us several benefits, one of which is that whole efficiency thing where we don't have 2 newsletters and 2 people doing books and 2 orders for paper and all that sort of thing. So we can combine some of those sorts of things. And another benefit is the ability for agents to be able to specialize more, be more of an expert in a smaller field, and be able to teach with some real depth in those particular subjects.
I kind of wonder about the cost of driving back and forth for everybody, but is that high, or is that something that you guys have worked out already?
It's a part of doing business together as a district, and we will still be officed in the communities where we started. And so, if I do a program and I've developed it, the work and the effort goes into developing the program to start with. So to just go to another community and present it is, a pretty quick trip, doesn't take long. And so, some of those will be some expenses, but in the long run, there will be even other things. Those benefits will outweigh those smaller expenses.
And that has to be approved by county commissioners on both sides, and
Yes.
it has been, I guess, already.
Correct. We've already taken care of that. We also then had to submit all sorts of documents and submit those to the Attorney General for review. And so as we tape this, we're still awaiting that final yes check on the box that starting July 1, we can form together into the new extension district and start doing business together.
And Kansas State is okay with all of that stuff too?
Well, it's a growing trend in Kansas Extension. There are 45 counties already combined into 16 extension districts. Our district will be number 17, and we've chosen the name of the Cottonwood Extension District. So you will start to see Cottonwood Extension mentioned more often. You'll start to see a few new names of extension agents, and we'll all be learning and working together to see how we can make this work.
And I know that you do a lot of shows. Barton County folks do a lot of shows too, presentations that you do for your community. Do you ever record those and then put them out onto maybe your website so people can watch them that couldn't make it to the program?
Well, we have not done a great deal of that in the past, but as handheld technology gets better, it's possible for us to do that now and not be in a setup like your studio here. That's entirely possible. Part of the benefit, I think, though, of extension agents being in local communities is developing that personal relationship. So yes, it's great to have information available to people, 24 hours a day whenever it's handy for them, but I really like to be with that audience in person, because that's when you get the questions, you get a sense of who these folks are and what their real issues are, and they get to know me in return.
Well, I think we got to know you today in the first part of the show and now, so thank you for being an extension agent in our community and helping us out and doing all that you do. And you've won a lot of awards too.
Well, I've been very lucky over the years that people have given some recognition for my work, and I appreciate that a lot.
Okay, Linda Beech, extension agent for Ellis County and possibly
the Cottonwood
Extension with also Barton County if the governor signs it.
Well, if the Attorney General signs it. I'm not sure the governor even knows what we're doing out here.
So we're waiting for Derek Schmidt now.
Well, yes, or one of his associates.
Okay. Linda Beech, our guest today on the forum. I'm Mike Kerner in for Gary Shorman this week. Thanks for joining us here on Eagle Communications Television. It's brought to you by Hayes Med.
My name is Jeremy Burkholder, and I manage the Network Operations Center at Eagle Communications. My job at the Network Operations Center is ensuring that we've got the right members of the Eagle team involved in supporting our customers, resolving their issues, and making sure we meet their needs long term. Service to me is understanding my customers' needs and ensuring that we're meeting them, as well as ensuring they have a reliable product on a day-to-day basis. The favorite part of my job is when I get the opportunity to work with the great team we have at Eagle to exceed the customer's expectations and showing them what an employee-owned company can do.